Corona is a painful awakening.
Veritas.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rick Saccone. The Corona crisis has awakened Americans and Washington to a reality that I and other conservatives have been pounding on for years. No totalitarian country can be trusted. It was a huge mistake for American politicians and corporations to make us dependent on China for critical supplies, particularly medicines of all things. Now there's a new American realism about China and its sweeping ambitions. Several years ago, Chinese President Xi delivered a rousing speech to the Chinese Central Committee about China's reawakened sense of destiny. That destiny is global dominance, and the Chinese are going after it with a vengeance. Even though we've shipped millions of manufacturing jobs to China, the Chinese have been stealing hundreds of billions in intellectual property from the United States for years. Intellectual property is the ideas and processes and technology that drive American companies and provide American jobs. At the same time, the Chinese ship us billions in counterfeit goods, illegal drugs, and adulterated food. And we know about the Chinese taste in food. More recently, the Chinese have gained new powers in the corrupt United Nations and in the increasingly unreliable World Health Organization. The UN has become a joke, a platform for globalists and despotic regimes. In March, the United Nations gave Iran a seat on its Women's Rights Committee. Iran, which oppresses, imprisons, and tortures women. China was recently placed on a UN Human Rights panel. China is a massive violator of human rights. That's why there were heroic and moving protests in Hong Kong by people yearning for freedom and carrying the American flag. They are warning us about the Chinese communists. You saw the protesters in Hong Kong wearing masks before Corona. That was to keep the regime from identifying them. China is the first high-tech dictatorship with massive electronic surveillance of its people. You could say it's the first e-tyranny. Now we see China manipulating the World Health Organization as part of its campaign to blame the United States for Corona. But at the same time, China leads the horrendous black market in human organs. The China Tribunal, based in London, concludes that China is still killing prisoners and harvesting their organs, despite claiming the barbaric practice had been stopped. It's long past the time for a reset of our policies and relationships with China. We've got to stop dependence on the Chinese and bring jobs back to the United States. Millions of jobs. Does anybody really believe we can't make iPhones in the United States? A great outpouring of support for doctors, nurses, and hospital employees continues across the country. Let's keep building that support for everyone in the hospitals, clinics, and nursing homes. They're at the greatest risk of Corona. The risks are also higher for EMS responders and police officers, and for grocery employees. Let's not forget warehouse workers, farmers and farm workers, and of course, truck drivers. We need now the strongest possible sense of responsibility and caring for our neighbors, our communities, and for this great nation. Until next time, in God we trust. Don't forget to like this video and comment if you want to see more.